Hello guys, Danny here at ParTay. So just wanted to clarify a couple of things I see that probably we've got the same folks out there that are kind of making the rounds because I've received some of the same questions that I've seen posted on other channels. So I just wanted to clarify a couple of things here. So this is a Diamante panel. Now we've showed this panel a few times in the past. Diamante is a custom order screen from us. It is a black screen, true black. And this is my Vega gray screen. So I just want you to be able to see what the contrast is between the two of those there, color-wise. So the point of this really is for me to be able to clarify, because there's a lot of back and forth about gray screens versus black screens versus white screens. Guys, here's the real truth. The bottom line is that once you leave a white screen into any form of gray, you're never going to have true whites. You'll have perceptibly white whites. And it's all about perception, what your eye perceives to be white in contrast to everything around it, right? But once you leave a white screen, you're not going to get white whites. They're always going to be a little different. If you were to hold a white piece of white screen up against a light gray screen, they may look similar, but they're not going to be identical. Okay. And as you increasingly get into darker screens, you're going to see that wane more and more. Can't avoid it. It's going to happen. It happens also. One of the key things with some of your expensive, very expensive screens is that they try to stay close to true white, but they still don't achieve true white. Okay. So that just needs to be something that's a foundational understanding of projection. The darker the screen goes, the darker your whites are going to become. And all your colors are going to get a little darker in comparison to what you would see in a bright screen or white screen, because it's going to be whiter and brighter, right? Easiest thing to remember, just whiter is brighter. But you also don't get a lot of depth. So as you also increase the color, the tone, the darkness of your screen, the more depth you're going to perceive in the images that you're watching. So I'm going to show you something here real quick. This is, once again, Diamante. I want you to be able to see the differences in that black screen versus, and if I can find my remote, I will kick us off. There we are. Sorry, guys. So you can see there's a little bit of darkness that's added. But all in all, you hold true to your colors, including your whites. Now, the other question is, well, with a dark screen like this, won't you introduce, will you still be able to get a 160-degree viewing angle? Okay, that's the reason I don't like the term angle gain. Because yes, you will still be able to see it from the side. The difference is that, and the small panel is not a good example. The reason it's not a good example is because everything changes at scale. And that's the reason we showed full screen examples in the past. So essentially what happens is that as you move to the side, for Diamante at least, now in a lot of your high-end screens, they have somewhere about an 80-degree viewing cone. Some have as small as 60. So that would be just 30 degrees off center. With ours, we have 50 degrees off center before you hit your half gain. And we control that through the gain of the actual screen itself. So on the small panel, and I'll show you here, so as I move to the side, you will see it darkens. But the small panel is going to darken a lot more than the full-size panel does. And once again, we've shown that. Right now I'm standing at about 30 degrees off center, so that'd be about 60 degrees. As I have a full panel, I would be able to move about right here before you really start to notice a half gain. Now, if you notice, I'm standing pretty much about midway between, or right in the middle of the fireplace area, and I'll get back here so you can see that. So nobody's going to be sitting there. Now, in your living area, you may be. But if they're setting 60 degrees off center closer to the screen, not so far off, even with this small panel, while it does get darker over here on this side, it's still watchable. With a large panel, you would never even notice this. And we've shown that in past displays. And here's where the real kicker comes in. 7,200 lumens of light, all fully exposed. You can see very bright in here. So while the Vega holds up pretty well, considering it's a very light screen in this kind of light, and real quick, I don't like to do this, but just so you can see, you know, the amount of light that's there. But look at that Diamante. So that's the reason, guys, I say you really need to understand the technology behind what makes this work. Now, in a lot of the examples out there you'll see on black screens, as soon as you turn on the lights, you see a haze come over them. Okay, that's just because it's just a black paint. And a black paint will always haze over like that. But notice you don't have that here. With all this light, you can even see my shadow dim. Okay. Just don't get that. And that's why you'll hear me say, if you know how to make a black screen right, you can do some wonderful things with it. Also, I wanted to clarify one other thing, because I had somebody reach out to me and say, there's a single individual out there who is going on and on about the OLED stuff again. So let me just clear this up for those who may not know. I'm sure many of you guys already know, but OLED is not a company. OLED was not a group of people that got together and say, hey, let's call ourselves OLED and make black screens. As a matter of fact, OLED is an acronym. Stands for Organic Light Emitting Diode. And OLED has been around since, well, its origins were really back in the 50s. But I think it was 1987, Kodak actually made the first practical device using OLED. And since that time, it's been improved upon. And OLED is multiple technologies. It's just not a single technology. The most common today is AMOLED or AMOLED. And the way that it works is not because it has a black tube. As a matter of fact, CRTs or tubes in TVs haven't been produced since about 2010. So it's not an LCD. OLED is not LCD technology. Essentially, the way that OLED works is that you have individual pixels that can turn themselves off and on, where with LED type TVs, you have either edge lit or backlit panels. So you always have some form of light bleed. With OLED, whenever those pixels can turn themselves off, you don't get light bleed. So that's the reason you get closer to true blacks. So any other questions, I'll be glad to answer. You guys just reach out, let me know, and we will talk to you guys soon. Take care. Bye. Also, sorry guys, I forgot to answer. I got a little ahead of myself and finished the video without answering all the questions, so I was a little bit too expeditious. So wanted to address the other one, which was about ultra short throws and screen size. And it's, same for ultra short throws as far as the reason as it is for long throws, that, as you pull it back, people are talking about the loss of resolution. Well, first of all, let me say that eShift is not, compressed 4K. eShift is simulated 4K, and there's a difference there, It's not like you got a 4K file that you compress, because I've got some 4K digital files that are really compressed, and they're worse than 1080 in some cases. But it's really about a simulation of E-Shift technology, or 4K technology, excuse me. It's a simulation of that, which is almost imperceptible from native 4K for most folks. Okay, and I say for most folks, if you're a purist, you really want that native, then you go for it. But most people could never tell the difference, especially from a seating distance of about 10 to 12 feet or so. So, but the reason that the specifications on these things state, say 100 inch max, or, 120 inch max, 150 inch max, is because once you pull back further than that and you get a larger image, the beam angle on your projector or your long throw or your ultra short throw, or even a short throw, standard short throw, is much wider. So you're going to lose brightness. So what they're telling you is that is the optimal distance for maximum brightness from your projector. That's why they tell you, 150 is your preferred. As a matter of fact, sometimes it's not even good to go closer, because while you may have a really bright image, you're not going to get the full resolution that you would get if it's at the optimal distance. So that's what that stands for, guys. So many of the people that are actually putting bad information out there, I don't worry so much anymore, because quite frankly, their displays say it all. You got eyes, you're looking, you see, and you can see these images are just dim, they're bad, all the way around. I mean, these are not professional screen makers. So, just more information for you guys. You guys take care. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.